Welcome to today's edition of Sense of Self, Sense of Place. My name is Daniel Guglielmino, and on today's episode I will help you understand the world through my eyes. The world is a place of many personalities, whether good or bad. This is what makes it go round. From early childhood years, my parents, who were first generation Italian, taught me that respect, loyalty and honesty were three of the most important traits one could obtain, along with having a good set of morals. So whilst growing up and working on becoming the person I am today, I forged a stigma of myself of which would set me apart from the majority. Along with being friendly and outgoing, I am very bubbly and extremely easy to get along with, which has helped me create lifelong friends and also excel in any endeavours I may have. From a very young age I knew that architecture was my calling, drawing houses of what my future dream house was to look like. After many years and many attempts in other fields, I realised that I could not fight it anymore, and that I needed to fulfil my dreams. What followed was a very difficult but enjoyable experience, enrolling myself into RMIT, building design, and completing the advanced diploma. Upon commencing my studies, I quickly realised what style of architecture I would gravitate to. This is contemporary architecture. Although this style is very common amongst the majority, what I like to design is much more than boxes stacked upon one another. I love the simplicity of what can become a home or a building, but add aspects of complexity to keep viewers always guessing and obviously creating the wow factor. Regardless of whether you like it or not, the building will always be in your mind. When I design, I try to get a lot of my inspiration from conceptual designs. Although the wonderful appearance they appear to have, applying these ideas into a design to be built always proves to be a challenge in terms of structure, etc. The reason as to why I can relate to this style is because I feel as the world moves forward, as should architecture. Just as fashion labels keep up with the latest trends, architecture and buildings around us should do the same. Although being very much a city person, my favourite place is a town called Haukwa, which is approximately 20 minutes from the major country town of Mansfield. The town of Haukwa is not very big at all. In fact, it is only made up of one 10-kilometre dirt road, with houses, rivers and forests on either side. Whilst in Haukwa, I find much peace and tranquility in its surroundings, sitting on the porch, listening to the leaves rustling and the rivers flowing. This obviously gives me time to clear my mind and also find inspiration for future projects. After returning to Melbourne, from the serene atmosphere of Haukwa, I soon figure out the reason as to why I was there in the first place. Although Melbourne is one of the greatest cities in the world, along with being one of the most livable cities in the world, there is no space of which one can escape the hustle and bustle. Founded in 1835, Melbourne was forced to create its character through architectural styles, being Old Colonial, Georgian, Victorian, Regency, Tudor and many more. To date, Melbourne is recognised for its mix of modern architecture, which intersects with its extensive range of 18th, 19th and 20th century buildings. I believe that Melbourne is a place where dreams are made. In the architectural world, I believe that one of the most influential architects of our time would have to be Zaha Hadid. Not because her name is popular amongst the majority, but because of the achievements she has made. Born on the 31st of October 1950 in Baghdad, Iraq, Zaha Hadid forged a career in a field that was dominated by males. Starting off working for her architecture professors at Office for Metropolitan Architecture in Rotterdam, Zaha soon moved up in the firm, becoming a partner in 1977. In 1980, she went on to establish her own London-based practice and also shared her knowledge by teaching at the Architectural Association. To date, Zaha Hadid has completed 22 projects, along with 2 conceptual projects, many ongoing projects, and has also dabbled in other fields, being interior architecture and product design. An example of one of her design products would be for a London-based woman's shoe brand called United Nude, where she designed a pair of heels of which are now in retail stores. Whilst architecture fascinates me, I find that music calms me. From a young age and being surrounded by musicians, I soon learned how to play the bass guitar, and furthermore teaching myself how to play acoustic guitar and the drums. Having these abilities, I went on to be a part of a band. This was one of the best times in my life. Although we didn't make it as big as One Direction, we still had fun with what we were doing. Through this musical venture, I soon created favourites in my mind in terms of song. These were based on the structure of how they were put together and the complexity of them, and furthermore, how they sounded as a whole. This can obviously be related to architecture as well. One of the all-time greatest songs is by a band called Led Zeppelin. Formed in 1968, Led Zeppelin hit royalty and now is considered one of the most influential bands in history. Stairway to Heaven, running for 8 minutes and 2 seconds, is the epitome of greatness. When broken down, the intricacy of each instrument is mind-blowing, and then when placed together, is just brought to a whole other level. But listening to this 2 years ago, I never would have analysed it as much as I do now. Now it's about the construction and completion in anything, be it music or architecture. When both are completed to the highest standard, the end result is unstoppable. To make your mark in this busy world we live in isn't hard. I believe to be unique is not to be a sheep. Following other people's footsteps proves you only to be a shadow, but walking your own path is how you discover greatness. Thank you for tuning in to this final episode of Sense of Self, Sense of Place. We here at RMI TV hope you've enjoyed the stories we've brought to you. Goodbye.